when this pandemic first broke out in China and then started traveling to Europe and the Americas, it was generally believed internationally that by this time it lands in Africa, there will be a disaster. That it will eventually end up like an African epidemic, like malaria, bilharzia, HIV/AIDS, and so on. But that has not come to pass. And I think as Africans, we must congratulate ourselves for having taken measures that has ensured that Africa did not become the major victim of this pandemic. I hear back home we need to congratulate ourselves as Kenyans, and I want to congratulate the Kenyan people for their patience, their resilience, and caring toward each other. This has helped us to reach this far. Also, we need to convey our condolences to families who have lost their loved ones, and we say that may the Lord rest their soul in eternal peace. We also want to congratulate our medical personnel who have been very diligent in their service to our people. In a very risky line of duty, they have exhibited a sense of patriotism that is unique, and therefore we need to congratulate them. Some of them have lost their lives in the process of trying to save lives of other Kenyans. We also want to congratulate the Ministry of Health under the leadership of my friend, Honorable Mutahi Kagwe, who has continued to guide this country, giving vital information to our people as what needs to be done during this period of time. They may not have been perfect, but nowhere in the world have they in any country been perfect in dealing with this. So we thank them and congratulate them. Then our religious leaders who heeded the call by the government and shut the institutions of worship, whether they were churches, mosques, or temples. And we know the kind of stress that this imposed on them. But then they also saw that they had a duty to protect lives of our people. We wanted to congratulate them. But this pandemic has also produced young heroes in our country. The innovators, the young innovators. We have people who are able to produce ventilators, beds, masks, PPEs, and so on during this period of time. It really shows a sense of innovation that our people have, and that given an opportunity, the people can excel just along the other youth in the world. Then we want to also thank our small-scale farmers. You must remember them. Those who produce cassava, potatoes, fruits, maize, millet, chicken, and so on, who have continued to serve our cities and towns during this period of epidemic. From Busia to Kitui, to Mandera, to all over the place. They've done a commendable work. Then we have also our truck and van drivers and border riders who have provided a critical link between the production and consumption supply chain. Some of them have been doing this thing at great risk to their personal safety. But there's something that we have learned from this, Mr. President. That our reliance on imports in our country is risky and dangerous. When the world shuts down, like the world is shut down, you find yourself in a situation where you're completely helpless. And that's the reason why we're saying that made in Kenya and made for Kenya should not just be a slogan, but it must be something that we want to realize. That we must begin to manufacture certain essential things like pharmaceutical products, food products, things like textiles and so on, we need to produce in our country. And that we should move away from our reliance on imports of essential things. We must have a national list of essential goods and products that must be produced locally. Finally, President, the youth of Kenya, during this period of time, have exhibited exceptional sense of unity and patriotism. And here I want to thank the government for coming up with this Kazi Mashinani, which has provided essential jobs for our youths, which are productive. The President, we need all the time to continue to have this conversation on how to expand our national cake. That our national cake must expand so that we can be able to feed most of our people. The reality is that our population continues to grow exponentially, but we are not producing enough to be able to feed our people. There's too much concern about consumption, taking away from the national cake, than expanding the national cake. And this itself is actually a recipe for disaster. We must see that this national cake is expanded rather than just taking out from it and going to give it away from other people as alms, throwing it to other people's alms. This is a conversation that we're going to have on another day. But I want to conclude first by thanking the government, the President, for leading from the front during this very difficult period. It has been very difficult to meet physically, like Honorable Ndavadi said, because we don't want to be the source of infection. It has been difficult, but I'm sure we will manage there, and I hope that we're going to continue to manage going forward. I thank you.